Hello folks, and welcome to another Bitcoin market analysis by Inspocrypto, or how I call this market recently, a pump and dump market. It feels like the whole market has adapted, or maybe a big whales pump and dump group has been created in the last month, and we didn't notice that. Well, at least I didn't receive any invitation for that. However, it is what it is. We are not going to change that here. Some people will, of course, have some profit and benefit of those pump and dumps. In my opinion, or at least for me, it's not going to work just because I'm a really conservative trader, and that's why I joined the crypto market very late, but at the best time, in my opinion. I started in October 2020, and well, I mean, after that we did a nice bull run. Well, we had big fake rallies then. And we had the summer crash last year with the China ban, failed spot ETF, and so on and so forth. But everything was attracting me more than the current market conditions. It's really, it hurts because I'm spending a lot of time and seeing what the market is doing. I don't like it all. It's pure pump and dump, and I know who has the biggest benefit pump and dumping, because we know that correlates very well with the open interest leverage ratio, and sometimes even with the funding rate. And who has the biggest benefit liquidating future traders? Whales? I don't think so. However, let us go forward and check what the market is doing. As you see, Bitcoin is not following at all SPY right now bounced here. Even I think it's not done. We will see. Maybe it wants to go again to 430 just to form such kind of double top. That would be crazy, but at the same time very nice. 430, as I tweeted yesterday or retweeted from George, that's gamma call wall, a huge one. So it's working like a big resistance. And I had a nice chat with him yesterday, and we had a nice exchange, and he also told me that he is seeing the first reversal signs that the whole market, SPY, SPX, could flip again to the downside just because of certain data related to options, for example. And I mean, that could be a problem for Bitcoin or not, because like we see at the moment, it's not following at all. Instead, it's maintaining very down. As you can see, I have closed my short. I was shorting since 23,600 because I had a trend line here. It did a very nice retest, and then that was my solid entry signal. But I have closed it because today many people are expecting something big in today's FOMC, the Fed meeting, something I don't have any expectations at all, because in my opinion, nothing big has changed, absolutely nothing. We know a lot of Fed. We know that the Fed has a clear goal, and they also did it very clear that they want the inflation at 2% again. And that's a big, in my opinion, it's going to be a big challenge, because as you know from all my former analysis, and I have mentioned that different time, nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. So even it's getting worse, because now we have much more problems than before. If we talk, for example, about a potential supply chain disruption that we had, a potential, just to fix that, we failed. We still have some problems. China has some problems. We still have the supply chain disruption. We have seen, for example, that the oil price is declining. That is, of course, something very good for the inflation, because that should take some pressure from the inflation rate. But at the same time, that wasn't the only case, because we got inflation also because of food supply problems, something we didn't solve yet. And in my opinion, that's not going to happen. Even, for example, the US, it's a different case, like, for example, Europe, because as we know also from the media, that the US Army is taking oil from Syria, for example, so they are generating their own supply. Europe, for example, don't have any alternatives, and they tried with different countries to find an agreement and to get gas and oil, and they still don't have any big agreements at the moment. So at least for Europe, it doesn't look very good, also indicating that the global economy could get a bigger hit, like we know, for example, also from China. So I don't think that anything will change soon in the next month. I don't really think. Maybe some political decisions that could have an impact to the Fed, something that it shouldn't, but it can happen. But we don't know. Only time will tell what's going to happen there. But my expectations are very reduced. And I'm noticing that's not the case with many traders out there and on crypto Twitter. However, let us go forward and just check what's going to happen. My expectations at the moment are much more a double top formation here related to DXY. So I can imagine that DXY could go down again in that area at 106,400 to 106,200 and could push at least SPY and SPX a little bit more up. We will see what Bitcoin is going to do next. But everything can change very quick, so nothing, we shouldn't celebrate now anything. In my opinion, we will take a look. First of all, wealth ratio 30 days moving average, nothing have changed. The only thing is that here, the wealth ratio in 1 day resolution is indicating yesterday we had a wealth ratio of 79. That's really high. 79 is really high, and usually every time when we had such big level of wealth ratio, afterwards a big dump. Well, a big dump. I'm not talking about nuke. A big dump of almost $2,000 to $3,000 happened. So, but as we know that even the wealth ratio 30 days moving average didn't play out, I'm very careful now with the wealth ratio, to be honest. If we go forward and we can see what's happening here, for example, and we can see that also here the wealth ratio 1 hour time resolution is indicating 91. That's also very high, indicating whales are sending more Bitcoins to exchanges. What we see here as well is that the stablecoin supply is declining even more. I just have noticed related to the whale alert, 130 millions in USDT withdraw from Binance within 1 hour. That's really big. What we can see as well is 3.6 billion US dollars more in stablecoin reserves at centralized exchanges, something I never have seen before, to be honest. And they didn't mind this 3.6 billion before. So someone big, a big actor just sent 3.6 billion US dollars to Binance. To derivative exchanges. Afterwards, we received another whale alert, but this one was really fake alert because it showed up 2.37 billions. I have checked this transaction. It was in an internal one from Binance Cold Wallet to Binance Cold Wallet. The big question is why that happens, and maybe was that also part of an internal one to refill, for example, the stablecoin reserves on derivative exchanges on Binance. I really don't know. However, it appears at least on derivative exchanges, and that's something we should have in mind. The 30 hours moving average related to weights ratio, for example, it was lifting up. It declined now a little bit. Even it gives here a little sign that it wants to go up again. You can see they little dumped. That's always indicating they want to let the price go up again. And that's it. Let us go forward and check the next chapter. Well, as mentioned, we don't see any big stablecoin inflows here. So at least we can say that of those huge amounts of stablecoin, none of them went directly here to the spot exchanges. What we can see here is for today, 3,141 Bitcoins inflow, as you see just before we started to dump, and some stablecoin inflows as well, but nothing big, absolutely nothing. We are talking here about 19 million and here about 40 million, and even Bitcoin outflows to centralized exchanges, really tiny, 1,200 here, 640 Bitcoins here, so absolutely not big at all. So let us go forward and check what happened to the future market. So I have mentioned today, and that was this order here, or at least this inflow that appears related to derivative exchanges as inflow, and this one is really huge. I never have seen before, because we are talking about 3,647,000,000. That's crazy. That's really crazy. However, afterwards the funding rate lifted up, it declined a little bit and lifted up. I'm not saying that they are using these stablecoins right now too long. Nobody knows. Maybe, but I don't know. The funding rate lifted up, declined, lifted up. So the funding rate in general, that's the trend, is lifting up. But that's nothing new, because I have mentioned several times in different tweets that even on Binance, for example, we have a big gap between longs and shorts. We have almost 1.8 billion in longs, while only 800 million in shorts. That's usually something where I would say, that's extremely bearish, because we know that certain market actors love to liquidate those. And we know, since I'm also sharing this analysis about the correlation between open interest, leverage ratio, and dumps, that happened here again. I don't know if you can see that, but open interest lifted up, we dumped. Lifted up, we dumped. Lifted up, we dumped. And even here, lifted up, what happened? We dumped. And now it's lifting up again. While the price was declining. So we need to see what could be the next step, to be honest, but it wouldn't surprise me if we dump even more, because we have received almost 18,000 Bitcoins, and they are still there. They declined in reserves, but they refilled them again. So we are still on 17,000 and we have almost 400,000 Ethereum waiting on exchanges. It seems at least the exchange reserved rised a lot. However, if we check, for example, the Bitcoins related to derivative exchanges, we can see just 2 hours ago 2,700 Bitcoins and an hour before 2,650 Bitcoins. But also here, also outflows 1,900, 1,200, and at the moment very flat. And that's absolutely it. If we take a look, as mentioned, open interest is lifting up, leverage ratio even more, while the funding rate is lifting up. And that's taking into account our correlation that we have noticed could be a dump indicator. We need to be very careful. Let us go forward and let us see what's happening here. We can see that the green line is indicating long liquidation, while the red line is indicating us, and that's the aggregated one, shorts liquidation. So we can see they liquidated longs, shorts here, and afterwards they started to liquidate a lot of longs. Well, a lot. It's not that big. Absolutely not. However, the leverage ratio, as you can see, the open interest is lifting up, leverage ratio is lifting up, and even the funding rate is lifting up. So every three things are lifting up, something that is not really good. Usually, the funding rate is not the indicator. It seems it's the leverage ratio and the open interest, because they know exactly that with a rising leverage ratio, they can liquidate traders much easier, much easier. So whatever, let us go forward and check the next chart, because this one is better. We have the Bitcoin price here and we can see what happened. Look that, open interest, price. Isn't that crazy? Afterwards we went up, open interest, price. Every time did exactly the same. Now look, open interest and price again doing the same, maintaining. So usually I would expect the next dump afterwards. However, we need to see and wait a little bit, what's really happening there. Time will tell. It's maybe too early. I think many are also expecting and waiting for tonight, when the Fed will have its meeting and tell some notes about the meeting. So let us go forward and check. I'm going to refresh the site, and we see, I have mentioned yesterday I was expecting 2 billions. Okay, I was wrong. We are almost at 1.9 billion, while only 840 millions in shorts. So we are talking almost 69 to 31. That's a really incredible long short ratio. It would make sense to dump with a rising open interest, because then many of them are just longing. So we dump to liquidate them. So I wouldn't expect other thing than really to go down. That's something we need to see. However, if we go forward, we can see even here on Ethereum, they are also, it's crazy, 63 to 37. That's crazy. They are all expecting a pump very soon, and well, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe related to some volatility indicating pump and dump. That's our, unfortunately, daily business related to crypto. I don't know if the Kingfisher is working now, because it wasn't working since yesterday. Let us check. And no, it's still not working. I don't know if they changed something or no, no, it's not working. High traffic, it's selling. So that's it. Let us go forward. So let us see what is happening and what is the main market driver at the moment. We can see that's FTX, for example. They stopped to distribute, it seems, since we have reached this level here at 23,300. And while we have this level here, and we arrive this level, because even the aggregated, it's not doing anything. I mean, if we check, for example, we can check that, and that way we can see that FTX was distributing very well. It accumulated quick as well. If we check the 30 minutes, we can see very well what happened. They were in a distribution trend all the time, even still are, even the aggregated one, while, for example, here that's right now shifting, but it was the opposite way on Bitcoin collateral futures, while here stablecoin futures, for example, also declining. So we can see, at least at the moment, nothing has changed. At the moment, we are still maintaining that level here at 23,300. We will see if I was right just a few days ago when I called 23k should be the next step. It looks like. If we check, for example, here, that's Binance, as mentioned, not doing anything, not even accumulating. They are not buying or something after they distributed very nice, as we can see also here. If we zoom a little bit out, it's very clear they bought here big, and afterwards they started to distribute while their price lifted up even more. So a nice gain for sure. If we check, for example, Bitfinex, we can see that Bitfinex at least is still distributing. That's what they are doing since a while, as you can see. So Bitfinex is not done yet, it seems, and they are distributing at the moment. If we go forward, that's Coinbase, of course. Coinbase buying. I never have seen really making any distribution, but look, wow, they started to buy big since 23,600, it seems. So yeah, even they, yeah, it looks like they maybe are the main drivers here, and everything below 23.7 could be a big interest for them. I don't know, we need to see. Let us go and check what the market driver is doing, or the market maker. First of all, here we can see that, if we check that here, that retailers have started to sell. I'm not sure if that's the beginning, maybe just because a little bit of fear, and they start to accumulate again afterwards, or taking profit, not clear. Small whales with wallets with 1 to 10 bitcoins stabilizing, nothing big here. These guys are, it seems, rising their wallets, also not really big, between 15 and 20,000 bitcoins. These guys here not doing anything, declined a little bit. Even our market makers declined their balances again, and those exchanges related mostly to exchanges lifting up imbalances, something that usually it's not really bullish. But that's it. We can check a little bit. That's Ethereum reserves, nothing has changed. Also here, nothing has changed. No, everything since the big dump. Oh, well, the dump. It wasn't really big. Nothing more has happened. Also miners, nothing. No, everything looks normal now, to be honest, but this here is crazy because the open interest is rising a lot right now, much more than before, and the question is how far they want to go, because if it starts to rise, I mean, the leverage ratio, the funding rate is also rising very hard with the leverage ratio. I would expect another leg to the downside, to be honest, to liquidate longs. It wouldn't surprise me at all, but we need to see. Okay, let us go to the next chapter. So we start now with Coinbase. Coinbase here at the moment protecting the price below 23,200 and also above of 23,600. It seems they want to buy here in that area. At least that's what I would interpret after have seen that the CBD is positive, a lot of positive, and we can see that here as well. So since here they started really to buy, I mean, that's not big at all, because we are seeing here CBD of, let me see, that's 700 Bitcoin. That's really not huge, but for Coinbase, enough. Deribit, nothing. Deribit expecting or waiting at 25,500, and that's it. Only here we triggered their sell orders there, or short orders. Bitstamp, nothing. Binance, yeah, I was just waiting for this breakout here, and then I went short. I closed my short already, and now waiting what's going to happen next, to be honest. It wouldn't surprise me just to make a retest, a final retest, back to 23,750, and maybe then I will short again. Depends how the market reacts here, to be honest, but something we need to see. However, at the moment they are here again, 23k, and the next bigger wall would be at 24,500. That's it. Otherwise they reinforce this wall at 25k, and they removed, or at least we have much less volume here and here, as you can see. So they didn't remove these walls, but we have much less volume there. If we go forward, Bitfinex, that's Bitfinex spot, nothing, really absolutely nothing. FTX perp indicating 22,700 as potential local bottom. Also here they remove some volume, and even here they remove these walls here at 24,500. So it would match to go down to 23k and then go up again, but we need to see. I mean, we need some patience. I think they are expecting a lot of volatility, maybe because of tonight. We need to see. I really don't know. Even I wouldn't expect that, but the market is doing what it wants to do. Kraken removed almost all these walls at 23k. That's also very interesting why they did that, why they are still waiting at 27.5. BitMEX, nothing. They removed also walls to the upside and still waiting at 27.7. Binance futures, wow, look that, that's crazy, isn't it? 25k, and here, wow. I mean, some people say, hey, Inspo, I mean, they are not going to break to the downside. First of all, that could be spoofing, and the second thing is, we don't know this 3.6 billion US dollars in stablecoins that we received today to derivative exchanges. We don't know what, if that's an internal one. Let us say it's not. because otherwise, if it's an internal, so from one wallet of Binance, for example, to another, like we had today with the 2.3 billion, usually it doesn't have any impact to the reserves, of course, but it appears. So usually I would say that's coming from another exchange, or it is valid. And a huge institutional sent 3.6 billion to a derivative exchange to trade. So with 3.6 billion US dollars in stablecoin, of course you can have a breakout and go to the downside without any problems. Because even here we are talking about, let us say, 10,000 bitcoins. Who cares with 3.6 billion US dollars? So also nothing that is helpful at the moment. We just know they want to maintain the price. You can see here and here they want just to maintain the price above of 23k at the moment. So 23,350 at the moment. If we go to Bitfinex derivatives, also very interesting. They triggered, for example, I guess that was part of the plan and why they did this pump and dump, but they triggered this sell order here at 24,300, and also here is Bitfinex right now limiting their way down. That's what they are doing at 23,300. So Kraken futures, let us see. Kraken futures here, nothing, absolutely nothing. And if the export, also absolutely nothing. No, absolutely nothing. No, no, not even here. Little wall at 18, but I don't know why. Okay, however, that's it.